Hello everybody. So people kept asking me questions about a specific topic, which is drumstick control and mastery, as we all like to think of it. So I thought to myself, if I were to keep making drum videos, if and only if, then I'm gonna have to make a full stop for this one before I keep going into deeper subjects. So I'm gonna try my best to explain how to master the drumstick, if not how I go about it and how I've been going about it for the past 15 plus years of me playing drums. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you a very practical knowledge, if possible, of the topic, and then if anything I'm gonna try to go deeper into it in terms of how, again, I've gone about it throughout all my years of playing, including maybe some tips that I can give you on the subject. So there's three basic ways of holding the drumstick, standard ways or classic methods of holding a drumstick. There's a French way, which is completely straightforward, then the American way, and the German way, which is a little bit more open. In other words, with the palms almost fully down as you hold the drumsticks, facing the floor if not the drum. Now, from the French, which is completely straightforward, not much thought put into it other than just keeping them both similarly straight, pointing wise straight, to the American way, classic drum marching way. The only comment or point to be made about it is that that's the way they used to actually hold the marching drums back in the day, because the marching drums would go on the side of the drummer as the drummer would walk. And then that was applied, on and on as the years went by. Also in terms of jazz drumming. As you can tell, I just switched from a very, standard way of holding both drumsticks to a very jazzy way, so to speak, or marching drum way of holding the drumsticks. I personally don't use this technique that much, but it is always an alternative and it's always something that you can learn. Now, the way I go about it is I go from a 100% American way of holding the drumsticks, or just diagonal, to almost a German way to holding the drumsticks. Now, before you start hitting the drum, there's a very, 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 very basic exercise which I learned back in the day from my drum teacher, Hector Caboulli. And it is very, very simple. It is a 101 basis or basic exercise that he made me go through, and I'm going to go about it very quickly here. You get the drumsticks of your choice. Say you're starting with a very thin drumstick. I usually use actually something thicker. I'm using the Anton Fig Pro Mark drumstick lately, which is something very thick and long, and it has a very complete barrel type tip. So it gives me that full sound that I'm looking for when I play drums lately. So the exercise is very simple, as I was saying, but you have to make a point about it. It's just a matter of lifting the hand fully with the drumstick, going down, counting some seconds, and then lifting up again, and letting your fingers fully open. And then you grab hard again, and you go like this. And you try with the other hand. Go up, hit hard, and then you lift up and full open fingers. Now at this point I'm only holding the drumsticks with the first two fingers, my thumb and my index fingers. If I were to go down, I grab the drumstick again and just fully closed. And make a point about it, press hard, not hit the drum hard, but just press on the drum. And then go up again and open up. And you can repeat that if you want. I'm going to set up an easy metronome at 1:30, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then try the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. If you want to start the count again, you can do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So stop the metronome and you get that technique going for a while. And so when you play the drum and you play a very easy pattern, let's just say right, left, and I'm going to slow down the metronome here to about half, which is 70. Let's just set it up at 70. And you choose, say, the American standard way of holding a drumstick. You're going to let the stick bounce. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's one stop right there. And you already say you chose the American way, going into the German way of holding the drumsticks. You want to always control the drumsticks, as I said, with a thumb and index finger. The rest is just for rebound and for bouncing of the drumstick itself when you're playing drums with more advanced techniques, which I've actually gone through in the other videos. Now, beyond that basic knowledge, there's something called the Moeller stroke, and this is where it gets really interesting and fun, which is supposed to be. Because say you're advancing your drumming and you want to actually get very fast in your, double strokes and your rolls and your drum rolls. So how do you go about those drum rolls that they go very fast? Like for example, the drummer's playing. How do you go about that? So you have to practice literally slowing down completely the metronome and then speeding up very quickly. Now I'm not going to use a metronome to demonstrate that just once, but I'm going to do it very slowly. So you start 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to keep that up. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you speed up and you slow down. One very tedious way to practice, and a very good way, smart way to, so to speak, school-wise to follow scholastic way to practice, as some will say. It's just to get a metronome going, and you speed up as you go. So you start at 70 and you do double strokes, and you speed up 72, 74, 76, 78, 80, 82, 84, 86, 88, and so on and so on and so on. And then you slow down as you keep playing the... So what happened with this Moeller stroke that I just mentioned? Well, this is what is called the whip. In other words, it's an added technique that I learned later on after years of playing and choosing to go about it in a very standard American way of holding the drumsticks, very relaxed way of holding the drumsticks. And the Moeller technique is by somebody, his last name's Moeller. It was explained by Chaping very well. Actually, you can look up Moeller technique on Google or on any search engine you use, on any YouTube video, and they'll go deeper and deeper into the Moeller technique. But for all practical reasons or matters, the Moeller technique uses the whole hand. So it actually creates a fulcrum, and it creates a non-stop flow of the hands as you play drums. Say you're playing a show and you're playing 2 minute and a half, 3 minute and a half shows, songs in each show, non-stop. So the show goes to 2 hours and a half because you're playing songs after song after song after song after song. So you want to get very comfortable and use as much energy as possible in the most smart way as possible as you can possibly do during the 2 hours and a half or an hour and a half show with a break included. So the way Moeller came up with it is that you go up and you start by focusing on your elbow. So your elbow, you lift it up with the drumstick laying on the drum, the tip of the drumstick laying on the drum, and you go down like that. Just your elbow for now. And then eventually you realize that the whole hand follows and it hits the drum. Very loose. It don't matter how that sounds. It doesn't matter how that defined that hit is, that first hit is. You just want to make it happen at that point. You lift your elbow up and then you lift it down, and then the hand's going to just follow naturally. Same with my left hand. If I lift the elbow up and then just go like that, it's just going to follow. This is how it naturally just follows the hand, the motion that you're making with the elbow, that you're lifting the elbow. So this Moeller instructor, a professor, realized that you have enough energy to actually hit more than 2 strokes or hits in each, enough to hit 3. So you can actually go for 3 when you do the Moeller technique, not only 2 hits at a time. So if we're doing 2, you go. And you can keep that going. There's people that do this very fast. If you look up Chaping and people like that have been playing for a long time in very specific, jazz genres along the years, you'll be impressed of how fast they take this and how fluent they are with this technique. But it always helps because you don't want to force any movement as you play these shows. You don't want to make the movement sound like you're working too hard when you're playing the show. You actually want to enjoy the show, or you want to enjoy what you're playing, period. No need to explain. You want to enjoy it when you play, when you perform, when you record, when you teach later on. So look up the Moeller technique. Again, you start by lifting the elbow and then it falls naturally. Lift the elbow and let it fall. And then you catch the rebound little by little. You say, oh, okay, there's 2 there, so now there's 3. So if I were to just use my hand and put it on top of the drum and lay it a little bit, you can kind of see how my hand flows like that, and the other hand too. You see drummers play nowadays live, they use that Moeller technique a lot. They just won't explain it or say it when they're playing live. They just use it, and you can tell because they're constantly using the elbow. They flow naturally with the music. So if I go, you can see how my elbow just naturally moves after all these years of playing and practicing and explaining this, even if I'm just one more talking about it. But you can just, if anything, hopefully get inspired by what I'm saying and showing you here, and look this up. Finally, there's a book that I have here. It's called by Wanamaker and Rob Carson. It's called International Drum Studies, Percussive Arts Society, and there's plenty of these books. Comes with a drum pad, and they actually have a lot of exercises that you can go through with a metronome. I always recommend a metronome. But just to finish up, just remember, don't force. That's just an exercise. When you're actually playing, you actually want to not think that you're making that exercise and just play. Anything you want to be loose, and when you introduce a Moeller technique, then you'll realize that being loose about it and feeling good is what it's supposed to be about, and not necessarily forcing any double strokes or single strokes or making it seem like you're playing super hard and breaking the drum sets and the sticks while you're playing the show. So for all that matters, just remember to keep it simple. Use your thumb and your index finger as much as you can, and then try looking up exercises. There's plenty of exercises you can try. You switch the fingers as you go. And that's the idea. More than anything, the whole mastery of the drumstick is just a matter of you getting used to this whole drumstick, specifically the one you like using the most. Eventually we can go into brushes and mallets and whatnot, but it's a matter of just you getting acquainted with the drumstick as much as possible, so that when you play, you don't force the playing. You actually make it feel as loose, as comfortable, and as enjoyable as that can be seen and felt. So for all that matters, I hope you enjoyed the lesson and keep up with drumstick control study.